Sweet tooth strikes again. Let's start off with a little graham cracker crumb. What we're going to do is add 1.5 cups to our medium-sized mixing bowl. Next up is going to be just a little bit of brown sugar, 3 tablespoons of that. Then we're going to bring in some cinnamon, because y'all know I absolutely love cinnamon. 1/2 teaspoon of that, and then we're going to zhuzh all that together. Now what we're doing here is making the crust of this amazing dessert that I can't wait to share with you, all right? Now then, this is a little bit powdery yet, so we got to add a little bit of stickum to it. So let's go ahead and add a little bit of melted butter to hold all this goodness together. 1 stick, you can either cook it in a saucepan or in your microwave just to make sure it gets good and liquefied, soft. And then you're going to blend all of that together to make sure that all of that liquid gets combined with all of the dry ingredients. Because you cannot have a dry crust. Just don't work like that. It crumbles up to nothing and we just don't love it. Next up, we're going to get our square baking pan. This glass one's 9x9. Spray it with our non-stick spray. And then scoop all of that amazing crumble right down there in the bottom. Because what this is going to be our crust. We're going to take our hand and just kind of mash that down, going all the way to the sides and the corners to make sure that all of it gets covered. Plus, I want to compress it a little bit because I want to make sure we got just a little bit of a solid foundation on it. I want it to be nice and flaky, crumbly, delicious. I don't want it to be too hard, but I also want it to keep its shape. Next up, we're going to use that same pan that we used to melt our butter, and we're going to go ahead and put another stick in there. Next up is our semi-sweet chocolate chips. I'm going to add 1.5 cups of those here on top of my butter stick, okay? What I'm going to do is warm these up. Don't go too crazy with it. I don't want it scorching, okay? And we're going to make this beautiful sauce. All that is chocolate chips and butter. Butter helps keep it from being as waxy as it is sometimes. And then, of course, chocolate, it just makes everything better. So we're going to make sure that we sprayed our pan with a little bit of nonstick, and then we got all this going together. Keep your heat to a low to medium, because again, we don't want to scorch it, we just want to melt it. Now we're going to bring out our larger mixing bowl, okay? Now number next in this is going to be a little bit of white sugar. Now we started with our brown sugar, here comes the white stuff. Now here we're going to do 1.5 cups of that, and then we get in some egg business, because of course we got to hold it all together with something. Plus add a little protein, never hurt nobody. 2 large or jumbo eggs are going to do you fine. Next up, we're going to add 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla flavor, and if we go a little overboard, hey, that's fine. Then use our hand mixer to get it all put together. Perfect. Look at that, how gorgeous. Absolutely. Now, next, we're going to add up just a little bit of some chopped walnut. Then we're going to add just a little bit more flour to it, okay? Beautiful. About 1/2 cup of each, the nuts and the flour. Then we're going to add our chocolate and butter mixture to all this as well. I wish you'd look at that, how gorgeous. Goodness, I cannot wait to get this in the oven. Speaking of, let's set our oven to 350 degrees because we're going to be baking this for roughly 30 minutes, okay? Just keep an eyeball on it. Once we've mixed it real good with our hand mixer, you're going to get out your handy-dandy trusted rubber spatula and get all that goodie off the sides of your bowl, because y'all know we hate to waste it, okay? So get all that down and put it down into the bottom center of your bowl. Next, what we're going to be doing is adding this to the crust that we've already made and set aside, okay? Now, you can refrigerate that while you're mixing up the rest of it. It'd probably hold it together just a little bit better, so go for it if you want to. What we're going to do now is just pour that batter right there on top, okay? All that beautiful chocolate, butter, nutty, flour, everything goes right there on top. Now it's going to be just a little bit softer, a little bit more liquid, so pushing it to the sides and the corners isn't going to be an issue, but you do want to make sure that you get a really good even spread on the top. Slide that in the oven, and half an hour later you got this gorgeousness. Wait until it gets just a little cracky crumbly there on the top. Now here's the thing, please make sure you let these cool for just a little bit before you cut into them. If you give them about an hour on the kitchen counter, they're going to cut up a whole lot easier and they're not going to smush nearly as easily, okay? See how beautifully that goes across? Now also, if you want to be kind of careful, you can wipe off your knife before you make those cuts so it doesn't make the ripping and the tearing. But honestly, it's still going to taste just as good, so I don't mind either way. Get yourself a spatula and dip you out one of these, okay? Now, you can do this warm with a little bit of vanilla ice cream. Cinnamon ice cream is wonderful. If y'all have never tried it, I highly recommend it, especially with all the chocolate in these brownies. However you choose to enjoy it, you're a winner either way. Woo! Yes, please.